What we're going to be talking about today is an introduction to circles. We're going to discuss the diameter, the radius, the chord, the secant, the tangent, and the arc. We will also take our time and we will identify each of the different sections that are on this circle right here. Okay? As we're going through, we're going to try and make sure that we identify each type and take the time and put them on the circle as we go along. So now we're going to talk about the diameter. A diameter is a line that passes through, or let's say joins, 2 points on the circle through the center. On the circle on the left there, we're going to actually write down each of the different parts. In this case, we've just described the diameter, so we'll write the diameter on the sheet. And there you go. When we're talking about a radius, we're basically looking at something where we start from the center and we go to the edge of the circle. Now, take a moment and draw and write where you think the radius will be, and I'll put it up in a moment. And there you go. Now, as for a chord is just a line segment that joins 2 points on the circle. But please note, it is not through the center of the circle. Now, just think of how this would show up here. Notice I said it's a line segment that joins 2 points. If you look on the graph, if you look on the circle over here, you'll see that there's 2 possibilities. There's one here and one here. Now, it's a line segment that joins 2 points. A line segment is a limited set. So basically, our chord is going to be between here and here. Now we'll take a moment and just label it. Now we'll start discussing the secant. When we talk about the secant, it's just a line that just goes on forever, but cuts the circle at 2 edges. So we're talking about something that looks like this. Now we'll write down the definition. So you notice how a line goes on forever? So it's a line that goes through it, but cuts through the circle at 2 points. When we talk of a tangent, we're talking of a line that just barely sits on the edge of a circle. It just sort of balances. So we're talking about something that looks like this. So the true definition of a tangent is a line that just touches the circle at 1 point. Notice that we didn't go and actually write down secant and tangent, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to do that right now. Now, when we're talking about an arc, we're talking about the distance along the outer circumference of our circle between 2 points. So imagine I had a point A right here and B in red. And the distance between them is blue on the edge of the circle. That is what we would call our arc. So basically, the arc is the distance between 2 points on the outside of the circle. And now we'll move on to slide 2. So when we start this second page, we have to go and talk about these various definitions. The first definition is the central angle. When we talk about the central angle, it's the vertex acting as the angle, and it's at the center of the circle, and basically the arms of this angle are going to be the radius. So what we'll do is we'll just quickly draw our center in both circles. Then what we'll do is we'll draw those arcs. Now, as for the second circle, we'll draw the same shape, but this time what we'll do is we'll show that it could be an internal angle, not an acute angle instead of an obtuse angle as in the first example we saw there. When we talk of an inscribed angle, we're actually talking about an angle that's actually formed on the circumference of the circle, the outer edge of the circle. Now notice I said that the vertex is on the edge of the circle, but we want to actually say that it's on the circumference. Otherwise known as the outside of the circle. Right? And basically what we're doing is the arms of the angle are going to be chords. So we'll just draw that right now. So imagine here's our red dot again, but this time it's on the edge. And then we'll draw our arms to other points on the circle. Those are the chords that we talked about. Now, basically, our angle is going to always be internal and acute. The second drawing that we're going to do is we're just going to change its orientation. So here is our circle with our two edges. And here's our angle again, but you notice it always seems to be acute, and that's just a property of having stuff like that in our circle. And finally, what we're going to do is we're going to discuss what it means to be subtended. So what we'll do is we'll draw two sets of angles. So we got 2 points. Let's label them A and B. So here is A and here is B. What we will do next is we will take those two points, and then what we'll do is we will draw two inscribed angles. We'll call them theta and beta. So let's just draw a point up here, and we'll call this theta, and we will draw an inscribed angle for theta that goes from A to B. We'll also draw another point. Let's call it another angle. Let's call it, I think I said it was beta, so it's going to look like that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go boom and boom. So now we have two inscribed angles, theta and beta. Now we have two inscribed angles, theta and beta. And here's how we say that something is subtended. If we extend a chord between A and B, we have two inscribed angles subtended by the chord AB. So let's just write that down and then we'll discuss it. We're actually saying we have two inscribed angles subtended by the line segment AB, or also known as the chord of AB. So we've actually joined two separate angles, kind of, with a line between them, a chord between them. Now, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to work on the homework package, which is page 3. Your job is to sketch them in class today. And then on Monday, what I want you to do is I want you to draw them up as good solutions with actual length. So if something is 10 centimeters, make sure it looks like it's 10 centimeters. Okay, take care.